Faith. Imani is the last of the seven principles. Nguza Saba. Our final story is how the moon came to be. And this story is read by me, Chuck D, Public Enemy. Here we go. Some people say that a long time ago all that existed was space and matter. This matter was in the form of big clouds of dust and gas. After a while, these clouds turned into big round balls. If the gas got so hot it started burning, it was called a sun or a star. If it started cooling down and turning solid, then it was called a moon or a planet. They say that the Earth that we live on is a planet, and the moon, well, it's basically nothing but a big rock that came from all that gas just like everything else. Well, that's what some people say anyway. Personally, I like the way they tell it back in Africa. According to this story, the moon was put in the sky by a spider named Anansi. And here's how it started. Anansi and his wife Aso had these 6 kids, 3 boys and 3 girls. When each one was born, each one announced his or her name. Now, this was strange even for spiders, so Anansi and his wife made sure that they remembered each and every name. The girls' names were Sea Trouble, River Drinker, and Cushion. The boys' names were Road Builder, Game Skinner, and Stone Thrower. They all loved each other, but like all families, not everything was perfect. The main problem was that all the brothers and sisters hated sharing anything, so they were always fussing and fighting over something or other. They especially liked fighting for attention. If one saw Anansi or Aso talking or playing with his brother or sister right away, he'd start some kind of disturbance to put the attention back on himself. Anansi and Aso could see what was going on, so they tried to teach their kids that each one had their own special talent and each one was equally loved. But you know how kids are. They'd still get into it every now and then. One day, while he was walking home through the forest, Anansi saw a bright light shining through the trees. He figured he'd take a look and see what it was. When he got closer, he discovered that the light was coming from a little hole in the ground, and the hole was a white ball of light so bright that he could hardly stand to look at it. He figured he'd take it home and show it off to his family. He was in a hurry, so instead of going back the regular way, he took a shortcut that ran next to the deep blue lake. Well, I don't know whether it was because that bright ball of light blinded him or he just wasn't paying close enough attention, but he slipped and fell into the lake. Bam! This big fish comes up and swallows him in the light in one big gulp. Now Anansi's scared. He's shaking, and he says to himself, "Look at the mess I've gotten myself into. All this ball of light is good for now is looking at the inside of this fish. I gladly give this beautiful light to anybody who could save my life." When it got dark and Anansi didn't show up for dinner, his family started getting worried. They knew something had to be wrong because Anansi was always home in time for dinner. Pretty soon the kids started arguing about what to do, but their mother Aso put a stop to that in a hurry. She said, "Listen, this is no time to be fussing and fighting. If you expect to find your father, we're all going to have to work together." They knew she was right, so they all promised to help each other as best as they could. Sea Trouble closed her eyes real tight and started thinking about Anansi real hard. Next thing she knew, she could see exactly where he was. She got all excited and started hopping up and down and hollering, "I can see him, I can see him. Daddy got swallowed by a big old fish." Well, there was only one place a fish that size could be, and that was in the lake, so right away the road builder started cutting a trail. Of course, since there was no moon and no electricity, it was pitch black outside. Even so, road builder cut a trail from their house, straight through the forest and right up the side of the lake. His mother and brothers and sisters followed right behind. When they got to the lake, they started begging the fish to spit Anansi back out, but the fish just acted like he couldn't hear them. None of them could swim, and a few even started crying. They had thought that Anansi was gone for good. That's when River Drinker said, "Hold on, I know what to do." And she did. She took a deep breath and she blew it all out. And then she stuck her mouth in that water and sucked up every drop. I mean every last drop. Next thing you know, there was Mr. Big Fish down at the bottom, flopping and gasping for air. Game Skinner ran down to the fish, pulled out his skinning knife, and before you could say, "Have mercy," out comes Anansi, still carrying that bright ball of light. But poor Anansi's troubles weren't over yet. While he was running up the side of the lake, a big bird saw the ball of light and wanted it for himself. The bird swooped down and snatched Anansi way up into the sky. Well, Stone Thrower wasn't going to stand still for that. He wasn't going for it. He pulled out his slingshot, picked up a nice smooth rock, took careful aim, and sent it straight into the bird's behind. The bird was so surprised that he let go of Anansi and the ball of light. Unlike the bird, Anansi couldn't fly. And just like the stone, he started dropping to the ground. That's when Anansi started praying because he knew that he was going to meet his maker. But no, Cushion saw him falling and put herself in just the right place, so when he landed, it was just like he was landing on a huge mattress full of fluffy feathers. The second he realized that he was still alive, he jumped to the ground and gave everybody a hug and a kiss. In all the excitement, he almost forgot about the glowing ball of light. But there it was beside him, glowing as brightly as ever. Then he remembered the promise he made when he was in the fish. "I'd be glad to give this beautiful light to anyone who could save my life." The question was, who should he give it to? Aso told him just what happened. She said, "Thanks to Sea Trouble, we knew exactly where to find you. Thanks to Road Builder, we reached you just in the nick of time." Right about this time, River Drinker got tired of holding in all that water, so she spit it back out and refilled the lake. Aso said, and if River Drinker hadn't sucked all the water out of the lake, Game Skinner could have never gotten to the fish to open him up. "And don't forget Rock Thrower," said Anansi. "If he hadn't hit that bird just right, I wouldn't be here to talk to you about it. And when I fell, I'd have surely died if Cushion hadn't been there to break my fall." Sea Trouble said, "And if Mama Aso hadn't pulled us together, we'd probably still be arguing." Anansi thought for a minute and said, "I promise to give this beautiful ball of light to whoever saved my life. But since you all did, I don't know what to do." His kids didn't know either. Before all this trouble happened, they probably would have started fighting and yelling, "Me, me, 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 ooh, me." But things had changed. Now they started pointing to each other and saying, "You, it was you." While they were talking it over, Aso pulled Anansi to the side and whispered a suggestion in his ear. Anansi knew a good idea when he heard it. He said to his children, "Listen, your wise mother has thought of the perfect solution. This beautiful glowing ball of light obviously belongs to the creator of heaven and earth. Why don't we ask the creator what to do?" They all agreed that this was an excellent idea. They turned to the heavens for an answer, and the creator answered back, "Thank you for returning my ball of light. I will place it in the night sky for everyone to admire and share. But every month, day by day, I will make it disappear and reappear in a continuous cycle until the end of time, so you will remember this lesson. No matter how dark it may appear, if you help each other, the light will soon return." And that is how and why the moon came to be in the sky. And I guess if Anansi's children can remember the Creator's lesson, well, so can you. The end.